everyone, and welcome once again to another exciting session of the Ubuntu United Nations. And today is our third session, and we are going to be focusing on a very special topic, which is overcoming obstacles. And we are going to be getting a lot of inspiration from a lot of world leaders today, and as well as from some of the speakers that are lined up today. I'm your co-host today, and my name is Moses Machipisa from Zimbabwe. And today, sadly, I'm doing the, the session from my home country. I'm missing Portugal very much, but I'm also joined with yet another inspiring co-host. Joanna, over to you.
Hi everyone, how are you? How are you, Moses? Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot pop up next to your shoulder like this last seminar. But maybe someday in the future, close future, I'll be next to you again. And today, yes, even for you, Moses, I have a challenge. I want to recap the last seminar, and as you remember, the previous seminar was focused on bridge building and how can we be pontiffs. So my invitation is, can you share here in the chat an episode of your life from the last weeks or previous to that, and as an example how did you put those lessons of bridge building into practice? I will read some of your comments, so feel free to share here in the chat some examples of how you do your bridge building in your community, in your family, in your country, and professionally in your work. And I will buy you some time, so I will try to share mine from the last weeks, from the previous weeks, I mean. And Moses, meanwhile, you can also think of one or two examples if you have. I think you have a lot because you were here in Portugal doing a lot of bridge building. So mine, I think that sometimes when we are talking about being pontiffs and bridge building, we normally think, okay, nations, we have to collaborate, but we can do small things that will add up and doing a large changes in your lives, in your community. So I try to do this exercise and think about my daily life and how can I do and be more a bridge builder. And I thought, yeah, in my family, sometimes people are angry about some issues because life take over. And normally I'm the person that does that bridge within the gap and try to show the other side, and I try to exercise empathy. And when I regard my work, because I work in marketing and communication in a company, and I was like, we are in a peak of stress with a lot of work, and we have a team that is in Portugal and in other countries is divided, and sometimes they are very tense, and some situations they are not very nice to each other. And normally I'm the one that do some bridge builder, and I try to see, yeah, maybe that person reacted in that way because something is happening in their personal life. We don't know. We have to be more sympathetic, more empathic. But let me see. And Moses, if you want, you can share with us.
Yes.
I will check the chat if we have some examples of bridge builders.
Thank you so much. Indeed, in terms of bridge building, the past few weeks have been quite remarkable. And one of the things which I'm working on, and hopefully I will invite you to it, Joanna, is I'm doing an article on the experiences that I had in Portugal, but also looking at how, you know, the building bridges between with Africa and you know, the different programs, you know, the inspiration that I got there. And one of the things which happened this previous week, also in regards to build bridging, is there's been a lot of conversation here in Zimbabwe because of the immigration situations of Zimbabweans into neighboring South Africa, which has become a very heated conversation. But I was, you know, I had the privilege to speak in one of the Twitter spaces where the audience was both Zimbabweans and South Africans, where we're looking at, you know, the need to build bridges in this emerging situation. So it was also one of the experiences which I had. and I'm really excited from all the lessons that we've learned from the speakers that we've had. Is there anything in the chat as yet, Joanna?
Yes. It's nice because I did like some smaller examples of bridge building, like in the daily life, and you gave us some of a bigger proportion, and that's very nice to have that scale. But let me check. So Sadia is telling, by giving sympathy and understanding, bridges can be built and not walls. Good day to you as well. And let me see, Marian says, as a young legislator, I encourage participation from minorities in the grassroots in creating and implementing policies. Wow, amazing. And Elsa Teixeira is saying, I believe I built the bridge of empathy by encouraging my sister to listen to my brother-in-law's perspective on solving a family problem. Very good, very nice, like a personal scope. As a labor rights defender, I believe in creating access to decent work to the marginalized workers, says Rebatili Konopo. And let me check. Oh, a lot of sharing. Thank you so much, guys. When there was a dispute between the family, I tried to get into another person's shoes and not react in a way that I would regret, says Sadia Yunleko. Also, Akawayame, I'm not sure I'm saying the names right. It's my daily struggle in these seminars. But she says, or he says, in my family, by being supportive to my family, in my community, by making sure to check in with them, to encourage the skills which I have to enable peace. In my company, we work to reduce inequality and quality education for all. Wow, amazing. We have a lot of experiences here in the chat. Maybe I will just read it too, and then you can continue to share with us, because I will read it during the seminar. And also Moses has some message for us, what we have in store for today. So just let me highlight some of your opinions, some two last ones. Jane Rumbidzai Semo, okay. She says, with the NGO I'm volunteering with, I'm involved in a project where we are reaching out to children in migrant communities to provide free reading materials in mother languages from their countries. We are also now reaching out to many of their host countries in Africa to include them in our literacy program, also including their own languages. I love this because we are reaching across Africa to build bridges through children's literature. Oh, very inspiring. And congratulations for your work. And the last one, for now, at least, Yasini says, yes, building bridges of communication. It means something important to me. I will implement a process of engagement between peoples and societies in a way that ensures that they live with respect and psychological development. Thank you very much for sharing. And Moses, now, so the last seminar was building bridges, and today?
So today we've got yet another very exciting topic that we are going to be looking at. And our topic today is overcoming obstacles, overcoming poverty and social exclusion. And today we are going to be looking at a lot of themes in terms of how we can, sometimes in life, there are different challenges that we face. And even as the world today, there are a lot of challenges that we are facing, and poverty and social exclusion are two of those challenges, global challenges, that the world is grappling with right now. And as you know, SDG 1 speaks to zero poverty, and aligned to this theme, we are also going to be looking at and hearing from some of the speakers who are going to be speaking, sharing inspiration, sharing ideas on what can be done to overcome poverty and social exclusion in its different contexts. But today, as you know, as the Ubuntu United Nations, we always get great people who come and inspire us, great people who come and share their lessons, their life experiences, practical solutions that they are implementing to change the narrative, to lift people out of poverty, as well as to make sure that people, even in the most marginalized places of the world, are included. So, Joanna, who are some of these inspiring leaders that we have today who are going to be speaking to us?
So in terms of special guests for today, I will mention each one in order of appearance, okay, to be fair. So first of all, Mr. Elgdorj Tsakia. It's the former head of government and state from Mongolia. Will be with us. And also Mr. José Ramsorte, Nobel Peace Prize laureate, and as you know, chair of the Ubuntu United Nations. And also, get ready, Mr. Mohammed Yunus, the Nobel Peace Prize laureate. And also, of course, our dearest, Mr. John Vomic, president of the Ubuntu Global Network and co-chair of the Ubuntu United Nations. So, Moses, now the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So at this juncture, you know, there's been a lot which has been happening. We've got 3 sessions today, including today. And we just want to have a feel, you know, from the participants in order for them to share their experiences on how the journey has been so far. And I'm going to invite, because, you know, at this time, we're also going to hear the voices of the participants themselves. I'm going to be inviting some delegates just to share a few snippets in terms of how their, you know, their journey has been so far. And to start us off, I'm going to ask, you know, one of the presenters, a delegate from Indonesia, Septiani Pratiwi, to come and give us a reflection of how the journey has been so far. Apologies if I didn't say the name correctly.
Okay, it's okay, Moses. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from Indonesia. My name is Septiani Pratiwi. I'm a delegate from Indonesia. It's an honor to be here, and thank you for having me. I would like to say that the programs and also the seminars I've been attending so far have been really informative, very inspiring, as well as very moving. Not only I was able to learn from the amazing speakers, but also from the other delegates as well. My favorite part is when we move to the breakout rooms where we get to share about our experiences, our practical in life, our dreams, even our patience. It's so incredible to see and to know that there are a lot of young people across the world that have the motivation and also the drive to actually living their lives, as well as serve others, to help others in need, to make a change for the betterment of the environment and so forth. From this program and also these seminars, I hope that I could learn, get inspired from the other delegates as well as the amazing speakers. The delegates that I've met and connected so far have been really inspiring. It's inspired me in a lot of way in my life, especially to reach my goal to start my own youth center and some sort of like NGO in the future. They make me believe that it's possible as long as we have the patience, we have the drive, the motivation, and the good intention in our hearts. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Septayani, and thank you so much for the reflections that you gave. And indeed, it's always inspiring to hear from you and from the delegates in terms of how this program is actually impacting you and what you are learning. So I'll move from Indonesia, I'll go to Panama, and I call upon Valeria Maduro. Valeria, over to you. How's been the journey so far? And I like the SDGs crown behind you, if I may say.
Hello, everyone. Hi, it's a real pleasure to be here with you. I'm so excited. Again, each other. For those who have not had the pleasure and the opportunity to meet you yet, my name is Valeria Maduro. I'm from Panama. I'm a writer. I'm a journalist and a founder of Moverse Foundation. I was ambassador of Sustainable Development Goal in 2018 in my country. I have experienced 3 sectors, and I don't want to profound, but it's very important to know that right now, as a news anchor being in front of the cameras every day with a responsibility in communicating the news, make me confirm the commitment that we all have in our spaces to promote peace in every action we take. I would like to share with you that when I found out that I will be here in Ubuntu, my happiness exceeds the limits because the opportunity we have is huge in transforming our communities with small actions. The road can be a bit disappointment at times, sometimes, because of the barriers that we have that exist. For example, the poverty and the inequality, that is the theme that we're gonna talk today. but it's a path that we are following today during these seminars, looking for more answers, more solutions. Sharing makes us learn from others' experience to improve, and that's the idea. And thanks all to be here and to connect. In my country, the inequality is very evident with modern and tall buildings, but with a community of extreme poverty right now, right next to that building. In fact, Panama is one of the 3 most inequality countries in the world. However, it's a country that is a bridge of many nations and one of the most important commercial, logistic, and humanitarian hubs in the world due to the geographic position. And exactly is a consequence of a high level of inequality that exists in my country. We should take a deeper look at our prisons. As Nelson Mandela said, it is said that no one truly knows a nation until one has been inside its jails. So we have, for example, the story of Laura. I met her 10 years ago when she was a prison. She was there, and I went to visit them because I was presenting my first book. And she told me years later, when she already has been free, a phrase that I will never forget. The worst day of my life was not when I entered to the prison, it was when I was free of them, but rather when I left it. It makes me clear that we must continue to be an effect resocialization, but also create a real opportunities for that people to reduce poverty and equality. I don't want to talk more, but it's really a team that inspired me to take action every day. I start to think that we need to help more in our communities first, so we'll not have more people in prisons. With my foundation, Moverse Foundation, we are looking for young entrepreneurial leaders to empower them and give them that tool. For that reason, I really thanks Ubuntu for that opportunity, for this opportunity that makes me profound these actions more effective. I'm 29 years old, and I need to create those bridges of union is bigger. How becomes urgent to give the opportunity to this generation and our children who are not born yet, and how see all this reality that will live in our country. My expectations are very high because a path with peace is built from the challenges. And I hope that from here we continue talking, strengthen ties and friendships that encourage us to be better every day and also allow us to take action, because we still have 8 years left to comply with the agenda. And from now, you can count on me every day to continue this path. And it's of course, it occurred to me, what if from Ubuntu we could create a movement called Change of Peace? I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. Thank you very much. Ubuntu,
Thank you so much, Valeria, and thank you so much for your inspiration. And already in terms of the ideas that you have for the future, and also in what you are doing, especially in your home country, to stop inequalities. So allow me to move from Panama, and I'm coming to the African continent. Next, we've got Zara Rashid, all the way from Tanzania. Over to you, Zara. I don't know if Zara is connected, because I think because we are virtual, there could be some challenges. But while we wait, and while the tech team is working on just to check with Zara, can we have Joanna Gomes from Portugal? Joanna, just to come and give us your reflection on how the journey has been so far, in regards to to the sessions that we've gone through so far. Is Joanna? I can see. So Zara sends an apology for some technical challenges in the chat. But Joanna, over to you for your reflections on how the journey has been.
Hello, I come from Portugal, and it's been a really, really amazing few seminars so far. I feel inspired, I feel motivated, I feel I want to change the world with all of these seminars and help others and share this vision with others, this vision of Ubuntu and the journey and all the lessons that we have learned, and overcoming poverty and overcoming social exclusion is one of the two biggest problems, like Moses said. And I think today will be very interesting, and so we can learn more about how we youngsters can change that. Human rights will also be amazing, and climate change will also be another great seminar. I really thank all the team and everyone that I've been able to meet and share the reflections. I really like the rooms where we share with 20 people our reflections, and it's really amazing to see how different perspectives from all over the world can make something amazing and make this world a better place. So thank you very much. I'm really honored and privileged that I've been selected, and thank you once again. Obrigada.
Obrigada. Thank you so much, Joanna. And as we continue with the reflections, we have our next speaker from Nigeria. And from Nigeria, we've got Nameti Akpan. Nameti. So Nameti, how's been your experience so far?
Oh, thank you very much, Moses. This has been a melting pot of all cultures, of all peoples, of all faiths and beliefs. And for me, it gives me the idea of the global citizenship that we all envision. Truthfully, Ubuntu has touched me in ways no other program, no other training, no other experience has gotten to me. I look at the fact that every day, every time we meet, we can stay together for about 4 hours and think together about how to understand that single principle, that we are one. We can do things if we can build bridges, if we can overcome obstacles, and then if we can reach out our hands and the 5 pillars and then touch together. So for me, Ubuntu has been that model of a new world, a world that there is no division, a world where diversity becomes a plus, a world where inclusion is a given. It's been a life-changing experience with your hosting, you and Joanna being the 2 pillars that constantly remind us about the fact that we can be together even when we are diverse. I remember the empathy that comes each time our John Volmick speaks to us and remarks, I can feel the depth of humanity. For me, Ubuntu is humanity enthroned and love shared. Love and hugs. Thank you, Moses. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Nameti. Thank you so much for your very kind words. And indeed, we look to the inspiration of our great leaders, Dr. Rui and Professor Volmink, in terms of this program, as well as all the inspiring speakers that also come to share with us their thoughts, their knowledge, their experiences, and how they've contributed to making the world a better place. So the last speaker for today is coming all the way from Togo, and we've got Crepin from Togo. Over to you to share your experience, how it has been. How has been the experience, Kevin?
Hello, everybody. Please, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very glad to be part of this wonderful experience. So far, I've met many people, you know, got a lot of connections, discussed about many things, and it is really, really wonderful, just amazing. And I'm really grateful for you guys for having given me this opportunity to be part of this journey. I've learned many things from our guest speakers. And the other day I was telling to some people, I couldn't believe having Mr. Ban Ki-moon and many other guest speakers on my screen. And it was really, really great. Such an amazing opportunity, you know. So I will be implementing everything I'm learning here. I'm starting thinking about how to implement them in my country, you know, joining some institutions, associations, and, you know, helping some other young people as me to really, really build bridges and be these leaders and share this Ubuntu humanity. And, you know, I really, really lack words, and I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity. And I'm looking forward, you know, to being present to all the other seminars coming. I'm really waiting for them. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mr. Moses.
Wow, thank you so much. And thank you for all the speakers that managed to speak today. And I know some had a few challenges with the connection and different issues, but it's so much a great privilege and honor just to hear in terms of how your journey has been. And from that moment of inspiration, we are getting into another one. It is my honor and a privilege to welcome one of our most inspiring guests who has been inspiring us through this journey to inspire us, you know, on the topic that we have today, overcoming obstacles, you know, when we're talking of poverty as well as inequality. So allow me to introduce Professor John Volmink to give us the meaning of resilience, especially in this context. Professor John, over to you.
Thank you very much, Moses, and good day to everyone, or good evening. It's wonderful to be together with the Ubuntu family around the world. It's such a privilege. And in particular, I must say, as the different people were speaking about their experiences earlier, I couldn't help but wondered what would have happened if my generation, which is a few generations ago, if my generation had this opportunity. I wondered if the world would have really been a better place. But knowing you and hearing you, I believe that this generation, bound together here under the name Ubuntu United Nations, that I've said it before, that I deeply believe that you're going to make a difference in this world. I'm very excited to see, and I hope I live long enough to see how the fruits of this series of Ubuntu United Nations seminars is going to affect people in different parts of the world. You may know, or you may not know, that there is such a thing as an Ubuntu Global Network Charter, a charter of principles. And if you haven't seen it, I think, I'm sure we can arrange for you to see that, which is a set of principles that binds us together. Now, that charter reminds us that our true human potential can only be realized when we are interconnected with others. That's fundamentally the message. So a person is a person because of their relationship with other persons. So no one is an island, and we cannot live in isolation. That's why I celebrate this moment every time we get together. We live in a community, and that sense of community makes us who we are and what we are. We are tied to others in many ways. We share successes and we share our pain. And as individuals, we can't separate our humanity from the humanity of those around us. And that's a beautiful message to say to the world and to convince others that it's a better ethic than what we currently have. Bishop Desmond Tutu always says it so succinctly, but so powerfully. And he says in 2008, Ubuntu tells us that you cannot be human all by yourself. Ubuntu tells us that you can't be human all by yourself, says Archbishop Desmond Tutu. In other words, as human beings, we cannot be happy alone. Neither should we be left to carry our pain alone. Cannot be happy alone. All of us, whether we are rich or poor, whether we are young or old, have encountered obstacles. And dealing with obstacles invariably means dealing with pain. And so comes the word resilience, as Moses has pointed out. You will recall that resilience is one of the 5 pillars of Ubuntu. And resilience is that quality which helps us work through the pain and dealing with those obstacles. And there's always a threshold. We have to be aware of the critical role resilience plays in our lives. Those who were born into challenging circumstances, such as poverty and other challenges, develop a resilience in order to deal with the challenges of life, and they deal with it. They develop that quite naturally, because there will always be challenges for them to face, and for us. It is the case that people who grow up in conditions of hardship know, probably more than most of us, from an early age, what it means to survive and to fight to survive. And therefore, their pain threshold is higher. They can take a lot of pain, and they have mental toughness. So what about resilience and self-knowledge? You will recall that self-knowledge, which is another pillar of the Ubuntu Leaders Academy, tells us that if you want to achieve your goals, knowing yourself, you must make sure that the goals are congruent with the things that you value most. Because if there is congruence, you will be able to overcome any obstacle, and you will be able to work through the pain. So make sure, as you set your goals, that they are congruent with the things that you value most and that you treasure most. But resilience doesn't speak, and I want to be clear here, it doesn't mean that when you talk about resilience, you speak about a triumphalist attitude based on individualism, narrow individualism. But rather, I want to be clear that resilience is based on an awareness that we live in a delicate web of connectedness with others. So to live without relationships is to live in poverty. I say that again. To live without relationships is to live in poverty. Because poverty is not necessarily the absence of goods, absence of money, absence of possessions. But real poverty is the absence of relationships. And because of that, it's also the absence of hope. And when you're there, you are very poor. Living outside of community limits your ability to cope with pain and limits your ability to cope with adversity and limits your ability to cope with challenges because you've got no one. You can have all the money in the world, but you can still be poor if you do not have relationships. So I say again, poverty for me is the absence of relationships. And Ubuntu reminds us, I am because we are. I am because we are. Which brings me to the importance of connectedness. Our ability to cope has to do with our willingness to stay connected to our sources of support. Remember, you cannot be happy alone. I said that earlier. Share your fears. Share your commitments. Share your dreams with others. Share your successes. Share your failures, your mistakes. Some people learn from their mistakes and they begin again. And this time they begin a bit more intelligently. Others find the experience of failing so traumatic that they avoid the situation and therefore cannot overcome obstacles. So if you have a fear of failure, you will avoid effort and risk, and that's as a result of your fear. You will dislike sudden changes and shocks, and you will prefer routine tasks. But a person who is resilient is one who likes a challenge, who works hard and commits to a task, not because of a feeling of bravado, but because in the spirit of Ubuntu, that person has a sense of connectedness with others and realizes that if I fail, reason why I'm not scared to fail, because in the spirit of Ubuntu, I realize that if I fail, there is a strong web of connectedness that is providing a community safety net into which I will land. There will be those that will ensure that if I fall, I will always land on my feet. And that gives me the confidence. And that's the last thing I really want to say. We need to understand what self-confidence is. Self-confidence is an important part of Ubuntu because self-confidence makes a particular statement, but it's not an arrogant statement. Self-confidence is not arrogance. Self-confidence is related to a statement of value, not a statement of arrogance. A statement that says, I know who I am, that's self-knowledge, and I know my value, that's a value of worth. But self-confidence is important because it is about focus and courage and also how to stay focused, like Nelson Mandela did, on where you want to go and how to have the courage, even in the face of opposition and criticism, to continue working in the interest of others. So, Ubuntu is not about going on a personal mission, but it's going on a mission in the interest of the community, So Ubuntu makes us aware, says Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton in 2006 says, and I quote, Ubuntu makes us aware that the world is too small, our wisdom is too limited, our time here on this earth is too short to waste time winning fleeting victories of other people's expense, at other people's expense. We have now to find a way to triumph together, triumphing together over obstacles. So as I close, I return to this obstacle that affects so many people around the world. And we will hear from the Nobel laureates and others about how they have made a contribution to help people overcome this obstacle. And that obstacle is the obstacle of overcoming poverty. You know, someone has said, and I agree, that poverty can be understood as the inability to participate in society with dignity. It is the inability to participate in society with dignity. It is very difficult to fight for one's dignity when you feel the whole world seems unsupportive and in fact even conspires against you. So in the spirit of Ubuntu, we have to use our agency role as leaders, Ubuntu leaders, to help our fellow human beings to overcome this terrible obstacle, the obstacle of poverty. Because the Ubuntu project is a dignity project and based on an ethic of care and empathy and respect. Thank you very much, Moses.
Thank you so much, Prof, for those thought-provoking remarks, especially. I was taking some notes, and you quoted Desmond Tutu, and you said you cannot be human all by yourself. And there are two paradigms that you brought. You said you cannot be happy alone, and also you cannot carry all the pain alone. And you helped us, with a great learning point when you said goals have to be congruent with the things that we value the most. And you also gave a good reflection in why, as you say, that self-confidence is not arrogance. And you helped us to understand that we ought to look at, the bigger picture, especially as we are talking in the context of, these great problems of poverty and social exclusion. So in this moment in time, we are very grateful, Prof, for the reflections. And as we continue to move with our program, we've got yet another exciting speaker that is joining us today, who's going to be joining us today for, as part of the program. But I'll give this opportunity to Joanna. Joanna, who's this speaker who is going to be speaking, a very inspiring speaker who's going to take us through the next moment.
So I will do the honors, Moses. Thank you. And I just want to say appreciating, thank you as well, Professor John Volme, because it's like each seminar, I feel like I'm taking a wake-up call regarding the ethics of care and Ubuntu. And it's so inspiring and wonderful. Thank you so much for the constant recall of the important things that we have to think in life. So for the next guests, get ready. I will do like some noise. We will welcome Mr. Elbgdorj Tsakia. It's the former Prime Minister and President of Mongolia. Mr. Elbgdorj Tsakia is a public servant, freedom fighter, and a policymaker from Mongolia. In 1990, he was one of the key leaders of the Mongolian Democratic Revolution, and since then have continuously served Mongolia as a member of the parliament 4 times, Prime Minister 2 times, and was elected President for 2 terms, through which he was emphasized the need to foster human rights. He has also advocated for democracy in Asia, creating Asian Partnership for Democracy initiative within the confines of the Community of Democracies, the largest international organization that drives the global democracy agenda, which Mongolia presided in 2011 until 2013. So please welcome Mr. Elbgdorj Tsakia.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your kind introduction. I'm talking from Mongolia. When you hear the name of Mongolia, I think some of you think about great history. Maybe some of you think about Genghis Khan, Kublai Khan, or Island of Democracy between Russia and China. Very exotic place and friendly people. I think all those are true. And once Mongolians built biggest land empire ever existed on this earth. Lately in 20th century, my country became a communist country after Russia, second communist country. In the late of 1980s, in my country happened democratic revolution that changed everything. And during our great transition from communism to democracy, we did not shatter a single window. We did not shed a drop of blood. That transition was totally peaceful. And thanks to our people's free choice, I had a privilege to serve my country 2 terms as president. You know, you guys maybe think about it, you know, when person becomes president, usually that person became a very different one. But that's bullshit. Usually, if good person becomes that person usually became good president, good things too. If bad person became president, usually continues bad things. You know, when you become president, you usually continue your job. I would like to make here my point. You guys, leaders, young leaders of Ubuntu, Ubuntu means, I saw it, humanity. You are the best hopes of humanity. Our young leaders of the world, from all continents, from most of the countries. And because of that, if you dedicate your service to others, to your community, to make your community better place to live in, to make your country better place, to make the world better place, I think you guys, Ubuntu leaders, you're gonna be good leaders of your community, good leaders of your country. I believe in that. And now I would like to throw some of ideas in order to overcome obstacles and building bridges, what I did. I became president in July 10, 2009, and I entered to government house and I entered to my room. Actually, president office was big. And I said from that, I am not going to sit in this office. From this office, I will make citizen hall. You know, let's remake this office as a citizen hall. I would like to build from my government house the bridge to my people in order to keep me connected, in order to keep my government connected with the people. And after 1 month, we actually remade from that office citizen hall in government house. You know, before that in Mongolia, we had more prisons, more detention centers than citizen halls. And we got citizen hall in our government house, and people come to that citizen hall and they discussed every draft of decree, every decision of government, every draft of law. Before discussing in a parliament, people discussed it. People who are interested in that draft of law, they came to government house, they discussed it, and they contributed it. And that became actually a big movement in my country. Just after 1.5 years, we got all over Mongolia, more than 600 citizen halls. Every small community, every small towns got citizen halls. Even detention centers got citizen halls. You know, in order people to participate, they need space. They need place. They need to come. They need place to gather. You have to provide it. And that was a really big result. After that second idea, I would like to throw it to you. If you have place there, if people are coming, people need something to solve, need something to contribute to your society. People need money. After that, I initiated local development fund initiative in our law. From our budget, we actually allocated some money to the local communities all over Mongolia. And we had formal, if your local community is far from your capital city, you will get more money. If your local community more population, you will get more money. When people got money, we actually asked people, bring in your idea, what kind of problem in your local community you have. Using that money, please solve your problem. When people got money, they usually think that, oh, we don't have a street light. We have a garbage collection problem, or we have sewage problem, or we have, you know, everything. And they changed it. And every local town, every local community in Mongolia actually changed, like face changing into good. You know, everything became really good to live in your local community. That continued for years. After that, I actually initiated one idea with my capital city governor, and we talked about, let's make less bureaucratic. Let's make less bureaucratic our government services, our city services. Let's bring that city services from city hall building to the shopping center. That happened really in Mongolia, in real life. All possible services, government services, city services, we brought to the shopping center. When people come to buy bread and butter, people got their driver licenses, marriage licenses, everything, permissions. You know, if you have construction business, you can get the sewage permission or land permission. And after that, we asked people, how you guys enjoying this service? And more than 90% of people are responding saying that we are enjoying this service. If you live in an open country, if you live in a democratic country, not much like approval, you know, you cannot get, but we got through that service. 90% of our people supported that services come to the shopping center. After that, I initiated with my colleagues from Latin America, Europe, and Africa, Asia, there was the Open Government Initiative. I initiated law called Glass Account Law. Usually people interested how you guys in government spend taxpayers' money, public fund. And in Mongolia, we got law. Means that every decision related with the expenditure of public money, that should be updated, that should be posted. Because of that, people became, you know, those decision makers became more responsible. I just throw to you 4 ideas, and you got those 4 ideas. And I think Ubuntu leaders today, you guys enjoying one thing, our young people everywhere enjoying one thing, that's the wealth of the knowledge, wealth of the technology. We all connected to each other. If you look for the best experiences to solving local problems, there are plenty of them, plenty of them. Today, we are living like in a time of renaissance, you know. Humanity is creating more than any other time in our history, actually. Humanity is enjoying more news, more knowledge, more technology. And once I told you about Genghis Khan, even though Genghis Khan once said, it was easy to conquer the world on horseback. What was challenging is to dismount and try to govern. I think is still true today. And let's work together. And I'm thinking I'm the part of this big movement, Ubuntu movement. And thank you for inviting me. And let's work together. Let's roll together. Thank you very much. If you have questions, I'm ready to answer.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zakaria. I just want to mention, because I forgot to give the audience a very highlighting information that Mr. Taksaya is also member of the Club de Madrid, is one of the organizations that supports the United Nations. And this organization, the Club de Madrid, it's the largest forum of democratic former presidents and prime ministers who leverage their experience to strengthen democratic practices. And it was very uplifting to hear your speech. And I was reading the chat and people are just amazed by how you involved your solutions in the government and work so very well towards your community. It's wonderful, and thank you so much for your work. towards the community and for the Bengali people, and also for all the leaders of the world. I have two questions from the audience. First of all, Joana Good da Silva from the United Kingdom, she's Portuguese, although, she asks, how can youngsters help tackling social exclusion?
You know, I think social exclusion is like a denial of rights for someone, or maybe for others, maybe denial of resources, denial of opportunities. Also, I think social exclusion is related with the age, with the sex, or with the disability, religion, race. You know, social exclusion is related with the status of social economic status and even migration status. I think poverty is one of the form of the social exclusion. And when I think social exclusion, I usually put versus social inclusion. And we need to think about social inclusion. And when we talk about social exclusion, how to understand social exclusion is, I think, very simple. Every one of you invited to the party except one of you. That's the social exclusion. How you should join to all other people means that there are many good initiatives, and all we know that no child left behind. That's the big thing. Means that no one should not left behind. And I think in this term, in social exclusion, government has a role to play. And also private sector has a role to play. And the government means government can bring that policy framework and create legal environment. Civil society, of course, we can identify what kind of social exclusion we have in our community, in our city. And after that, we can talk with the like-minded people and bring some solutions to that. I think in order to tackle social exclusion problem, we should believe that social inclusion is possible. And if you believe in that, you can work in order to bring those excluded people and to your party, to your community, and include it, and also learn from others. And you know, my social media address there, if you would like to follow me on Facebook, there is my Facebook. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, there is my Twitter. Please drop a line in my DM and we're gonna connect it. Also, we will continue to share our news. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your openness, and you share the context of the social media. And the last question I have is from Brian Torres from Nicaragua, and says, besides becoming self-aware of social issues such as poverty, what do you recommend for individuals in civil society to take actions to reduce poverty in their countries, regardless of their socioeconomic or education background?
If I understood correctly this question, even I'm the member of the civil society, how can I contribute for the reduction of poverty?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even though the people wants to contribute doesn't have as much in terms of social economic capacity.
Yeah. I think in order to contribute to that political will is, of course, very important. If you believe in yourself, that's very important. And other thing I would like to say, just see what kind of resource you have, what kind of tool you have in order to contribute to that. And if even anyone can go to in your city, to your main square and hold some sign, you know, reduce poverty. I'm calling the accountability from my government. That will make big difference. There will be some people will come to you and like-minded people, and you will get more friends there. You're gonna form now alliances. And once you form alliances, you sit together and how to tackle this issue. Maybe we together bring best services to those people who are poor. And we show in a shame to the government how people are tackling this problem, helping each other. That's a really important idea. And I think in this regard, being public servant, being serving to others, and being helping poor people, I think one thing I usually think about that, you have to be authentic. You have to be yourself. You believe in. If you talk from your heart, if you do from your heart your action, people will believe in you. That's not show. That's just no one post for the social media. That's true. I care about you. You have to talk about these things to your people, to your friends, and form alliances and act.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's very inspiring, and truly, Mr. Taxi, you are servant leader, and thank you so much for your work. And now we are moving forward. We have also a special guest to join us. And I will call out Mr. José Ramos Horta, that has a special message for us and will disclosure the next moment.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. This is José Ramos Horta. I'm speaking from Dili, Timor-Leste. My apologies to start with if you hear roosters, a turkey, or a deer, because I live in a small property in the city, but it's almost like countryside. I have animals all over the place, and particularly the roosters are the most annoying. They don't even have a very nice voice, so ugly and persistent. I think you can hear it now, so my apologies for that. It's a great privilege to join again Ubuntu United Nations, and I thank again Rui Marques and the whole Ubuntu team in Lisbon and Porto in Portugal for organizing this fantastic gathering of like-minded people around the world who believe in the ideals of the United Nations, the ideals of human fraternity. In this context of the challenging times we live in, the pandemic and all the consequences of it on increasing extreme poverty, on opening wounds in terms of racial, ethnic, and religious divisions, because sometimes in times of crisis, some old wounds open up because they are manipulated by political demagogues, blaming immigrants, blaming refugees for the social ills, economic problems in countries. So we are really living in extraordinarily complex challenges with the no end in sight of the COVID pandemic. I know from here that in Europe, Germany, Austria, UK, it is increasing. In Timor-Leste, we are particularly fortunate that we almost have no cases now, no mortality for many weeks now. The hospitals are empty of COVID patients, but we know how fragile we are and how old we are. And for this reason, we must gather together humanity across the globe to try to help each other. No one has been trying to help fellow human beings living in extreme poverty than my good friend, my brother, and my mentor, Muhammad Yunus. Muhammad Yunus does not need introduction. Everyone knows Muhammad Yunus. Muhammad Yunus is known in my country. He first visited us before he won the Nobel Peace Prize. I invited him and he came. And he came again 2-3 times. And the Grameen Bank, which he founded, he imagined and founded, today is a conglomerate of the poor. The only situation in the world where the poor own a banking conglomerate, which started with $40. And I visited Muhammad Yunus in Bangladesh, and I was so impressed with what he has achieved there. But he has not achieved in Bangladesh. His inspiration has mobilized many others around the world in the fight against extreme poverty. It is the pandemic exposes further the real lack of solidarity among us, humanity. A company like Pfizer that sells us the vaccines, that produce the vaccines, in 1 year has made $30 billion in profit. Pharmaceutical companies, whenever there is a pandemic, whenever there is greater numbers of TB, tuberculosis, dengue, malaria, influenza, we get poorer, we get sick, they get richer. And then the traditional Western banks, commercial banks, not only Western, but in Asia and Latin America. And then we have the arms merchants. Some of these institutions, arms merchants, that are profiting from the wars in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Afghanistan. The banks that often, through their own mismanagement, they bankrupted countries, even in the United States, in the UK, and elsewhere. The CEOs receive huge packages. A salary of a bank CEO in the United States, in Europe, run into the tens of millions of dollars. And if through their irresponsibility, mismanagement, they bankrupt the bank, default, they leave with a compensation package of tens of millions of dollars. So that is our world, and nothing seems to be changing. But with people like Muhammad Yunus, people like you, the Ubuntu family, we might be able to change the world. And it has changed over the years. The simple fact that the Grameen Bank model, microcredit, has expanded throughout the world, has improved the lives of many millions around the world. It is a demonstration that changes can occur. But changes can occur also in our fight for climate change. Timor-Leste, my country, like many others, fragile countries in the third world, developing island states, we never contributed to CO2 emissions. You know, maybe Timor-Leste is contributing to 0.00001% of the CO2 emission. The destruction and the rapacious exploitation of the planet Earth, Mother Earth, is done by North American countries, by the Europeans, and lately by China and India, the major economies. They are the guilty ones, but we are the ones paying the price. And the Glasgow summit has been a thorough disappointment. Thorough disappointment in the sense that it does not correspond to the magnitude of the challenges, does not correspond to the magnitude of the crimes committed against Mother Earth, does not correspond to the magnitude of the expectations of the most vulnerable countries that are most affected. I didn't go to Glasgow because I was skeptical. Besides, of course, it's too far for me to travel there. But today, now, I will stop here and so that you have a chance to listen directly to an icon of humanity, Professor Muhammad Yunus.
Hello, thank you very much. Thank you, Jose. Good to be with you and all your young friends all over the world. And I'm very, very happy that you invited me in to talk to these young people. I feel delighted to get this opportunity. And as you have mentioned, our friendship goes way back. And when you started replicating Grameen program in East Timor, Timor-Leste, and that brought me to Timor-Leste. And that made the friendship, which lasted ever since, and get closer and closer. We have been together in many, many campaigns, and we still are. And now you mentioned the vaccine campaign. This is a shame that world leaders have not paid attention to it. And today, this amazing situation has been created because of that, where the billions of people are deprived from vaccines. Well, only lucky 10 countries have all the vaccines they could get, and multiple numbers of them. And some just wasted, couldn't use it because time expired. And they had to introduce the third dose. More people in 10 countries at the third dose than the first dose in all the poor countries in the world together. So that's what the COVID-19 situation and the vaccine situation. And our appeal together with Jose, our appeal is to make vaccine as a patent-free good, that intellectual property rights should not apply in case of vaccine, because it's a life-saving device. It's a life-saving medicine that we need to take, a vaccine. And if you try to put the patent right creates a wall of profit. So rich pharmaceutical companies, and they are all rich, they build this firewall with the profit, so that the knowledge remains inside that firewall. Nobody could enter. So it's a very ugly scenario, if you can imagine. People are dying outside the wall because they have no access to vaccine, and they will continue to die, but they will not open the gate of this wall to let the knowledge come over, to be protecting all those millions and millions of people around the world. It's not about money to be given away. It's simply knowledge to be shared. The knowledge is there. World today has all the knowledge to protect people from COVID-19. But that knowledge is monopolized by vaccine companies, pharmaceutical companies, and they build heavy walls of profit making. And that's what Jose was mentioning, all the billions of dollars they're making each day. Because of that, this is not available. We are not saying that give vaccine free or something like that, just allowing the knowledge to be used. Already many companies probably have the knowledge, but because of the intellectual property right, they cannot use it. Because if they use it, they'll be sued and billions of dollars have to be paid in compensation and all that. So this is the strange life that we lead on this world. How selfish human beings can get, how self-centric human beings can get. This is a good example of that, how it turns out. So we are talking about now creating social business pharmaceutical companies. Social business, as we have practiced, as we have introduced, is a new kind of business. Business to solve problems rather than make money. Because this world is built on one principle of economics. If you are in economics, if you are in business, you have to maximize profit. That's the goal economics has set for you. And we challenge that. I said, who said that human being has to be always focusing on maximizing profit? They show that economics is based on that. I said, this is based on the wrong thing. Economics is based on self-interest. Human beings are defined as someone
who is driven by self-interest, meaning the selfish interest. You want to pursue selfish interest. All you see is yourself, nothing else. So you blind yourself out to the rest of the world. You just pay attention to yourself. That's the profit maximization. So the world has been built, the economic world has been built on the basic principle of profit maximization. And we keep challenging that this is the wrong interpretation of human being. Human beings are not only driven by self-interest, human beings are also driven by collective interest. They say economics doesn't have collective interest. I said, that's what it went wrong. It just gave away something which is so precious to human beings. We are not only interested in taking care of ourselves, we're also interested in taking care of everybody else. And that's where the vaccine comes, that's where water comes, that's where the global warming comes. Economics cannot handle that because economics says, no, it's a selfish interest. You'll be driven by. That's why economics tell us to give subsidy to fossil fuel industry. So trillions of dollars are given away in fossil fuel. And Jose was mentioning about COP26. What a terrible thing COP26 has done. We are looking for very concrete, tough decisions to save this planet. The planet doesn't have much time left. We are on the verge of extinction right now. And we have been screaming to tell the world that if the scientists are telling us what we have, they couldn't care less. Leaders couldn't care less. IPCC report, which is the report of all the top scientists of the world, says we have only 10 years left, just 10 years. 10 years left from now on to reach 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature of the planet. 10 years. And we are saying in Paris Agreement that we'll keep the global warming 2 degrees Celsius or less. And then on, which is way back, then on the world has said that we have to keep the global warming less than 1.5 degree at the end of the century. And IPCC, all the scientists saying, the way we have been proceeding, we have only 10 years left before we get to 1.5 degrees Celsius. So by 2030 or 2031, will be 1.5 degrees Celsius. So rest is just non-existence. It's a kind of people don't exist on this planet. So human being has become the most endangered species on this planet. We have been worrying about many other species that they are both endangered species. Today is the human being who is the most endangered species. We don't have much time left. So we have to work very hard. That's where the young people come. That's why I'm so excited to talk to you, because you have to take the responsibility to make sure the world goes in the right direction. We make the tough decision. We are not driven by only our own selfish interests. We are also driven by the interest of the planet itself, collective interest, everybody's interest. And people challenge me, saying that, this is not happening, this is not possible. People are interested in their own interest, nothing else. And why should anybody do anything for anybody else? What is there for them? There's no incentive in helping other people because there's no profit in it, there's no money in it. So money is the thing which makes things happen to the individual human being. So listening to it many times over, I try to explain, I now give the exact explanation. I said, look, making money may be happiness. Making money may be happiness, but making other people happy is a super happiness. So it's a much more attractive than just being happy. It's a super happiness because once we see that we can solve the problem of the world, we get very happy. That's our attraction. That's what we want to do. And that's what young people will be willing to do that. And I'm telling that the young people are ready. They have the technology, they have the creativity, they have the stamina and the commitment to save this planet. Otherwise, they don't have a future. It's made very clear. If we cross 1.5 degrees Celsius, whenever, after that, we enter the red zone, meaning its world will be dangerous for human being to live. It becomes more dangerous each day. And it's an irreversible process. You cannot come back out of it. Today we can come back. Still we have time to reduce from 1.5 degrees Celsius to 1.4, 1.3. It's possible. And 1.5 is also very hot. It's not something very pleasant. Already right now we are at 1.1 degrees Celsius. And it's already making so much trouble, and particularly in low-lying areas and the island countries and so on, like the country Timor-Leste, would be extremely difficult to survive because of, in Bangladesh, it's extremely difficult to survive because of extreme weather. It's already showing up at 1.1 degrees Celsius. So many of the scientists are saying it's not 1.5 degrees Celsius that we'll be heading for. We'll be heading for 0 degrees Celsius, not 1.5. 1.5 is too much. What is 0 degrees Celsius? 0 degrees Celsius is the atmosphere that we had 100 years back before the Industrial Revolution. Whole trouble began with the Industrial Revolution. So we have to go back to the situation of pollution to the 100 years back. And then world will be safe. That is the safest weather condition, living condition for human being to survive. So don't even compromise for 1.5 degrees. Today you want to protect yourself to 1.5 degree, but you have to reverse the gear to go back to 0 degrees Celsius. That's the aim. So we have been talking about this many, many times over and say the young people are the one to protect us because it's their world they have to protect. They have to make the determination. Leaders will not come to that because they're busy taking care of themselves and taking care of their buddies and the businesses, big buddies, big businesses, and so on. So that's their direction. They will never touch. One of the campaign before the COP26 was to stop digging up all the fossil fuel from the underground. All fossil fuels should be left alone at the underground. They should not be taken out. And that's where it's the safest thing. The moment it comes out, it becomes poison for us, the human being. Look, who cares? Big countries, big companies, big countries are giving trillions of dollars as subsidies, free money, so that you can make more business to pollute the world, because it's the interest of the big companies to have this more fossil fuel coming up. They have not said anything. There was a tremendous amount of uproar to make fossil fuel disappear on this planet. We said, leave it alone under the ground. This is the common appeal we made, common demand we made it along with Jose and many other friends of ours to make sure we leave the fossil fuel underground, coal, oil, and other gas and so on. So leave it alone and design our life the way we were before the coal and everything came to the planet, dug up from the underground the planet. That's where it should be. We adjust ourselves in that way. But ultimate decision, COP26 did, they will be phased out. Oh no, not phased out, phased down, meaning that we will slow down, not a stop, not zero, just phased down. The phase down can mean anything. It doesn't, it says nothing really. So this is where we are right now. And that's why we are campaigning for creating a world of 3 zeros. And that's a campaign we continue to do. And that's why we try to see world can be saved by young people to heading for a world of 3 zeros. What are the 3 zeros? Zero net carbon emission. That's the danger part. The global warming is happening because of the carbon emission. So we want to bring the world to zero carbon emission. And that's the world we want to see happening in our lifetime, in your lifetime, to make it happen. And you have to make a harsh decision for that. Second zero is zero wealth concentration. All the wealth of the world is concentrated in few hands. No matter what we do, all the big things we say, our country is developing, we're improving our life, but the wealth of the world is in the hands of few people that you can count on your fingers. 1% of the population of the world owns 99% of the wealth of the entire world. 1% owning 99% of it. So what is the 99% people got? Nothing, just 1% of the wealth. And that's what we are screaming about. What is this? And it is getting worse every day. Meaning today we are saying 1% and 99%. Tomorrow we'll say less than 1% of people is owning more than 99% wealth. It will get worse still, continue to do that. That's the kind of economic machine we built. So we have to reverse that machine. So we said we have to redesign the entire economic machine so that we can create a new world. A world where people and the planet, people and the profit should live together. They should not be separated out from each other. So that's the kind of world. It can be done. This is what our history says, the thing that we have done in our work about how the financing has to be done, how to redesign the concepts that economists have done. So all the wrong things economists have put in our head has to be brought out, throw out, create new concepts, and do the machine design completely new. Third zero is zero unemployment. By unleashing the entrepreneurship in all of us, all young people can become entrepreneurs. But all the education system is telling you, you have to finish your school, get a good degree so that you get a good job. As if job is my life. Job is not life. Job is the end of life, because job is driven by instructions. It's a kind of a slavery. Who wants the slavery in this world? We want to be independent person. Human beings are born as entrepreneurs. So we have to have a new education system telling you that you are entrepreneurs. Come up with ideas, do things, and finance will be waiting for you so that you can use your ideas into translate into businesses that you want to run. You don't have to work for somebody else. You can be your own business and run your business. So that's the kind of thing, because world otherwise is becoming a place where artificial intelligence will come, make us everybody unemployed anyway. So why go that path? Be entrepreneur and create your own world. So we want to create that world of 3 zeros. And in order to do that, last point, and I'll stop here. Last point is I'm inviting all young people to form 3-0 clubs. 3-0 clubs. 5 young people can get together and form a club. You can Google it, 3-0 club, and you'll see, you can enter it. You can register yourself as a club and get connected with other clubs. Each club can get connected with other clubs so that all are committed, all make a commitment that all we do is to make, is to work, is to think about have to create a 3-0 club. 3-0 world. That's the direction we have to move. Otherwise, we have no escape the way the world is moving. So we have to protect this planet. It's our planet, so that we can hand over this planet to our next generation as a safer planet, not a planet which will be destroyed by our own action. Self-destructive planet. We don't want that. We want to create a very safe and healthy planet to hand over to our next generation. Thank you very much. I'll stop here.
Thank you so much, Professor Mohamed Yunus. It was very enlightening, and I took my notes. I will share after, because I saw a lot of chatting. The delegates are very exciting, and they are searching and talking about the 3 zeros campaign. I have some questions from some of the delegations. The first one is from Ainalem Oldagari from the Ethiopian delegation. It says, when in some countries conflict or war occurs, why do other developing and underdeveloped countries want to destroy the country instead of agreeing towards a solution? For instance, I could mention my country, Ethiopia, currently as widely disseminated by the media in a state of war derived by political motivated grievances. So the question, just to recall the beginning, is why in some countries where occurs war and conflicts, the other countries, the international community, instead of agreeing towards a solution, it seems that they complicate the issue even further.
Well, one answer that I can give, which I was trying to explain, our education has trained us, all of us, all over the world, that we human beings are selfish beings, and we believe in it. We started because that's what they drilled into our head, and we started believing in it. So we're selfish people. So why should we help you? As a selfish person, I'll be just helping myself. I don't care what happens. So the governments behave the same way. They always help themselves, not the other countries. If they want to make a good statement to kind of express some sympathy and so on, this is on paper. On reality, they're always trying to create their own self-interest. Self-interest in that case is a self-interest of the country, not the interest of the people who are suffering. Like refugees, for example, Bangladesh has 1 million refugees, Rohingya refugees, just thrown out from Myanmar and staying in our villages, in our place. We are already tightly packed country. But who cares? They are okay. You feed them, you keep them, and even give you some support so that you can feed them and so on. That's about it. No question of returning them to create conditions that they can go back home. They are their citizens. They were in politics, they were ministers, everything for years. Now suddenly they said, you don't belong to us. Push them out. So this is the kind of thing. I'm sorry for Ethiopia. I feel extremely sorry. We have gone through our experience in Bangladesh also. Many countries are suffering right now in a desperate situation. And we have very ugly cases around the world. So that selfishness has to be overcome, that we have to tell ourselves, we design our system, we believe human beings are driven partly by self-interest, but mostly by collective interest. We want a peaceful world. We want to solve the problem of poverty, solve the problem of global warming. Today, we don't pay attention. We have a big conference of global warming to stop it, and then kind of after days of talk, end up with nothing. So that's the kind of world, because we are all interested, and we keep on subsidizing the fossil fuel, which is going to kill us. We know it, because self-interest of the businesses, and that what is the interest of the businesses is also interest of the government. So they pour in money, free money. It's not lending money, just pouring in money so that you can dig more. So this is the kind of situation. So sorry for Ethiopia. I hope someday some people will help you.
Thank you so much for the answer. And I have the next question is from the India delegation, from Leah Marie Mashido. It says, we often see that there is always a continued inaction and silence despite numerous plans and meetings to tackle a worldwide problem like the climate change that affects people globally. Why is it so? Does that mean all of the countries are irresponsible and care less for the people? What are the reasons that prevent them from tackling grave issues?
Well, we want our pharmaceutical companies want to have the money. So, and the 10 countries have more dosages of vaccines than the rest of the poor countries in the world in the third dose. So that's the kind of situation we have created. If all those pharmaceutical companies work day and night in production, still they cannot produce enough vaccines to vaccinate everybody. But still they will not share the intellectual property right. If you allow that intellectual property right to go out, then everybody can produce it. It's no big deal. Bangladesh can produce it. India can massively produce it. South Africa, many countries in Africa can produce it. Latin America has enormous capacity to produce it. So that there's enough vaccines available. Today, no matter what you do, it's not available. It cannot be done. And whatever is produced, 80% of it is taken out by those fortunate dozen countries. That's all. Continue to do that. So this is a situation that as long as you remain selfish, as long as you remain addicted to maximum profit, that's the point. Addiction to the maximization of profit. That's the key of the entire financial economic system. You have to get rid of that. So we have to create a new kind of concepts in which we are trying to do what we call social business. Social business is a business to solve collective problems. The profit maximization business is to serve oneself, the investor, the owner. Collective interest is served by social business. There, investor doesn't want to make money outright because it is in you. I decided not to do that. And I created business not to make money, but to solve problems. And we call it social business. And we have done many social business in Bangladesh. Now many social businesses are created in other countries, in Japan, in USA, in France, in Germany, and so on. We have big corporates are encouraged to create social businesses. We have joint venture social businesses and so on. So that is something, and many universities have social business centers. We have now 97 universities in the world which has social business centers, teaching what is social business, why young people should think about becoming entrepreneurs rather than job seekers. We say we have to teach young people that we are not job seekers, we are job creators. We are entrepreneurs. We design things, and we are free people. We are not subordinate to anybody. We are not slaves. We are not mercenaries to collect money for you and hand it over to you. That's not what we are going to do. That's not our life. Our life is to dedicate ourselves to unleash our creative energy to solve the problem of the world. That's what the human life is all about. If satisfaction that I'm useful to the world. I'm not something just useful to myself. That's the thing that we have to come up.
We have to switch the mindset of the world. And the last question we have is from the Spain delegation, from José Juan Timmermans. It says, how should a young leader engage its changes in favor of sustainability in a country that applies public policies that do not favor the community and that is undergoing several changes?
That's what I was trying to explain. The young people is the future. Young people are the pilots of this spaceship called planet. This Earth is a spaceship, actually. It's floating in space. And young people has to take the role of the pilots of the ship, because this ship right now doesn't have a pilot. It's just drifting in the space, and it doesn't have navigators. The ship doesn't have a flight plan. It doesn't know where it's going. So the young people are the one who volunteer themselves to become the pilot of this spaceship and become the navigators and have prepared the flight plans. That's your responsibility. Define your flight plan, meaning where you want to take this spaceship to, because it's going to crash right now. This is the direction we are going. It's not very far. It's in a few years, you'll have a big crash. So unless you take over the responsibility, you don't have a planet left. You can only talk about it, but it will not be here. This is the scientific result. It's not something that somebody cooked up. So this is not a science fiction that's going to crash. It's a really crash. So you have to become the navigators, flight plan. So start creating the flight plan. I say, if you are looking for a destination where you want to take, I said, I give you a destination, but you can create your own. Just as an example, I'll give you the destination. Destination is to create this world as a 3-0 world. That's the destination. A world with zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration, and zero unemployment by unleashing the creativity of the entrepreneurship. That's it. So you start working and you take the tiny little baby steps now, and it will take you the 1,000 miles journey in seconds, because that's what it is. Don't think, oh, I'm so small, what can I do? But together, you are the force, you are the pilots. Don't consider yourself as passengers in this planet. I get a job, and I get good increments, and I get a promotion, and then I have a very nice retirement package, and my life is done. That's a passenger. Would you like to be a passenger, or you want to to be a pilot? And if you're a passenger, if it crashes, you can't blame anybody, because you didn't take over the responsibility of taking. You could take this planet to the direction you want, but you didn't. So that's why we're saying create your 3-0 clubs. Talk about it. Give the leadership. Train yourself that I'm going to take the leadership and make baby steps, tiny little things. Make up my mind. We are the people on this planet. If we make up our mind, that's where the planet will go. And we can create the 3-0 club, the 3-0 world. Nothing is impossible for human being. Always remember that. Nothing is impossible for human being. All it needs to make up your mind. If you make up your mind, it will happen.
We have to take action. Thank you so much, Professor Mohamed Yunus. And I will call out my pilots, because I'm not navigating in this spaceship alone. And Moses, what you felt about these inspiring moments, and with a lot of call to actions, because we need it. The world needs it.
Thank you so much, Joanna, and thank you so much, Professor Yunus. It's an absolute pleasure to listen to, the inspiration that you gave. And I was taking notes, and I'll go through some of the key points that you brought in the discussion today. The first thing that I especially liked, which relates to the philosophy of Ubuntu in itself, is that you came and you shared on the, this worldview, which is incorrect, that people are driven by self-interest, that, what really makes us happy and satisfied is what we do towards the collective good. You also showed that this is intrinsic to us, and it's part of the actual human nature of we ourselves, and not necessarily what we have been taught to believe, you went through elaborately through what is taught in economics and all other fields, which is not necessarily true. You also came and brought, the issues around the critical, why this is a very critical moment, especially in the context of the climate change, where we have less than 10 years, if I can put it, to put our act together because of the catastrophe, that lies ahead. And the most important message that I got, Professor, as you were deliberating, is that you spoke on the role of young people articulately. You said that it is we as young people must take a leading role. We should volunteer ourselves as the pilot. And you indicated 3 things that we have as assets. You said there's the technology which is available, the creativity of the young people. You spoke about the stamina that we have as young people that we can channel to make this transition that we need towards a sustainable future. One of the things which you said, Professor Yunus, which caught my attention was you spoke of entrepreneurship, how a job is not life. And you also gave, I was reflecting when you talked about artificial intelligence and what are its implications if we don't develop, the entrepreneurial acumen that we require as young people. And to top it off, as I conclude, you also spoke of the 3 zeros. Just to say, as I was doing a research, I think you spoke at one of the, it should have been the African version of the Ubuntu. I liked, the book, the 3 zeros, and you also articulated it on it today. 3 zeros, 0 poverty, 0 unemployment, and 0 carbon emissions. And also the idea of the social business, which does not focus on profit maximization, but also focuses on solving social problems. And I believe this aptly fits into the context of today's conversation that we had in how we can solve these 2 big problems, poverty and inequality. So thank you so much, Professor Yunus, for your inspiration and
thank you so much.
For being with us today. And I saw in the chats, a lot of engagements, and also the call that you gave for the opportunity for the 3-0 clubs, which I believe is also aligned to the Ubuntu, this community that we have. So thank you so much, Professor, and looking forward to continue hearing from you and the work that you are doing, uplifting people from poverty. Thank you. Over to you, Joanna.
Thank you very much.
Before a professor has to leave, we want to share this moment. We will do a group photo if possible.
Oh, that'll be great.
So, the technical team will support us. The only thing we have to do, and the delegates already know it, is to show the wide open hands, because are the 5 representing the 5 pillars of the Ubuntu philosophy. And I know that Pedro will help us through it, because we need to know how many pages he's doing the prints.
Yeah, that's sure. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Moses. Thank you, Professor Yunus.
Thank
you know already.
Thank you very much.
You know already, Ubuntu's. Just raise your hand, open, and show us your big smile. This was such an inspiring moment for everyone to hear from Professor Yunus. These words. Again, for the ones that are able to turn on your camera, please do not click on the button to raise your hand, because if you do that, it's always very difficult to tackle everyone. Do not click on that button to raise your hand. Just show us your face, show us your hand, and let's smile to the camera. Let's be together. Give me just a second to cover all the pages that we have today. So many people from so many places, ready to change the world, ready to overcome obstacles, ready to overcome the poverty, overcome the social exclusion. I'm such a privilege to cover all these pages, Joanna, because I have the opportunity to see everyone with the best and the biggest smile ever showing on the camera. So for the ones that are already turning on the cameras, just some more seconds and we move. For the ones that missed the opportunity, please turn on the camera. Okay, we are almost ready. Okay, Joanna, Moses, we are ready. Thank you,
Thank you
Professor
so much.
Yunus. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now moving forward, but I just want to mention one of the super sentences of Professor Mohammed Yunus was that helping and making other people happy, it's a super happiness. I loved it. And now I want to introduce the next moment with another special guest from the team. We are entering in the Energizer. And I think Gonzalo has something for us, right?
Yes, hello everyone. Hello all the delegates from all these nations united by the Ubuntu philosophy, by the Ubuntu concept. Hello Joanna, hello Moses. Hello all these incredible speakers that have this so much motivational speeches today. I was taking so many notes for today, and now we have an energizer. It's called the Wheel of Challenges. So we are going to overcome some challenges, but they are like fun challenges. I will kindly invite you to open your cameras and take a ride between all the little boxes that are our small spaceships, like it was said before. We are going to have a wheel of challenges appearing in our screen, and we are going to have some different challenge that we are going to make as a group. So I will invite the tech team to show us the wheel. There will be a new challenge every time it's going to spin, and I'm going to invite like 1 or 2 participants to show if they complete the challenges. They are it's like showing an animal, showing an instrument. You will see it. You will see it. Let me just yeah, I will click it to choose the challenge. And please, the most important thing is look at the others. Look at the other participants, the other friends that we are meeting here, because we don't have a lot of opportunities to see each other, to see all the people together. And this is a good opportunity to see the diversity between us or among us. So let's see who is the first challenge that we need to overcome. So the first one is to show an animal. Anyone that has an animal at home, please kindly bring back your animal to the camera, or if you have a cell phone and you can already seeing it. So please, I invite you to watch the other participants, the other delegates, to see the animals that are showing. We have some dogs, we have some cats. Take a ride, enjoy this moment to see the faces also of the other people that don't have the animals, but they are smiling at the animals. We see some pictures of animals in the phone is also, oh, we have chickens. We have a camel, but not alive, I think. Yeah, we have an hamster. We have also a panda. We have a shark from Russia, I believe.
This is my animal.
Sorry,
Emmanuel is showing off an egg. It's a future animal,
yeah.
but it's an animal.
Yeah.
You might count an animal, right?
Yeah, it counts, of course. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's the beginning of life. So yeah. We are seeing a pillow with a penguin. There is a chihuahua. We're pictures of a cat also from Iraq. Okay, we are going to the next challenge. Really great. Let's do this again. I will spin the wheel. Let's see what is the next challenge, and be prepared. Okay. Show the view from your window. For the ones who can and for the ones who want, of course, show the view from your window. What can we see from your window? Show us your street or your country, the place where you are. Let's share with the others. I can also do it. Again, take the time to see the other participants, the other pilots of this big spaceship that is our planet. We have some cities, we have some rural places. Is winter in some places? I can see, I think, some snow in the north, yeah. Yeah, let's change the wheel again. Thank you very much. And now this one is easy. Hug someone. Oh well, it's easy if you are if you have someone at your place, or if someone is not alone. Can you hug someone?
I will just hug myself. It
Yeah, me
counts.
too. Oh, we have yeah, we have some people together from Botswana, I think. Lame, yeah, hi. We have some people hugging their favorite stuffed animals, I think. Teddy bears. Some people hugging the cats. Great. Let's go for another challenge. Thank you very much for your disposition, for your smiles. Okay, now this, yeah, play an instrument. Can you please, do you have any instrument at your place that you can play and share with us? There are some people playing with keys from the house. There are some people clapping. Oh, there are some people with air flutes, I see. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, if anyone a musician, please write in the chat that you are a musician, and you can also maybe in the future or in a moment you can share with us your talent. Let's go for another challenge.
So now it's the last round, so it's now or never.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, now it's a challenge for the ones who have a book about Mandela. Does anyone have a book, about Mandela at your place that can show us? First one is the winner. I will ask also the tech team to help me to spot if someone is showing a Mandela book. Oh, I see Matilde Magro. Yeah. I see Lisa Marie. Yeah, I also have it one here with me. It's the Long Walk to Freedom. I advise you all the participants to read it, to find it in your local libraries, or if you can shop it. It's an inspiration, the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. So that's it. That's it, Pedro. I think no, we should move on in this incredible day. And thank you all the participants for your participation and for your smiles, and to be open to this small energy moment. Thank you so much. And let's go. Moses, I think it's back to you, I believe.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Gonzalo. Wow, for that energizer. And I liked, getting all the instruments, all the animals out. and this was really, quite a good opportunity just to refresh. And now we continue with the program. So we are now moving into a very inspirational part, which speaks, to overcoming obstacles. And I'm going to invite Rita to come and take us through the next moment that we have. Over to you, Rita.
Thank you, Moses. Well, hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. Can you all hear me? Okay, great.
Yes, we can.
I hope you feel I hope you feel more awakened after this this energizer, because you will need to pay close attention to the next moment. So, as you know, today is about overcoming obstacles and resilience. So we will now have the opportunity to watch a very special short film. It is centered on a circus troupe that is traveling through the devastated America in the height of the Great Depression. And we invite you all to watch this movie through the Ubuntu lens. So having in mind everything we've discussed so far, and even if you've already seen this movie, just try to see it again, having in mind everything we've discussed so far, and think of empathy, of self-knowledge, of self-confidence, of service. Think of all that and pay special attention to Will and to Mendes, and see if you feel represented at any moment. We hope you enjoy.
Hey, look! Can we go there?
Aw, Sammy, you're breaking my heart. We're all the circus you need, kid.
But they arrived. Tell me, Mr. Mendes.
Why not? Let's go.
Okay, boys, time to get me a date with the bearded lady. Who's with me?
Great riches, come, sit down. I tell you all about your fate. Great riches, come.
We're gonna come get you now. You are my little boy. I'm gonna get you if I can.
Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. We have the best freak show in town. Mr. Pete Robinson. You got the Limbless Band. Step right on in. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. We got Baby Lulu. Mr. Pete Robinson. The Limbless Band. Come on in, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in. We have the best show in town. Come on in. Come on in. We have the best freak.
Not unlike a large heifer, she's a woman of extraordinary weight, who has a peculiar appetite for whole chickens. Now, down this way. Painted man, whose world travels can be seen on every inch of his body, from head to toe. And now, ladies and gentlemen, gather in. A perversion of nature. A man, if you could even call him that, whom God himself has turned his back upon.
give you. The Limbless Man!
Look at that. Look at
Move along, kids.
Hey, get away from him!
What's the matter with you?
It's all right. No harm in it. My fault. Maybe I got a little too close. Eh, friend? You have a good evening now.
You better get a hold of yourself before the next show, gimp.
Real nice, Will. Seemed to change your mind about joining one of them fancy shows. Huh?
What are you saying?
Don't you know nothing? That was Mendes. You just spit on the showman from the Butterfly Circus. Butterfly, butterfly. You kill me, Will. I'm hungry. I'm gonna get me some cotton candy.
A man, if you can call him that, whom God himself has turned his back upon. The Limbless Man!
Muy bien.
Boss, good morning. Buenos dias. Buenos dias indeed. It's going to be delicious. Yes. May I have this dance? Thank you so much. Poppy.
Would you get my trunk? It's so heavy.
But it's easier for you because you're so strong. Ah! There's a dead man in the truck! What?
Well, now, look at this. This is wonderful. Come on over by the fire, warm up a bit, little man.
I'm Sammy. What's your name?
I'm Will.
Where's your arms and legs?
Sammy.
What, Mama? Is he gonna be in our circus now?
Maybe I will.
Hold on a minute. We don't have a sideshow here.
What do you mean? Every circus has one. People come from all over the place to see us.
And why do they come, Will?
But yours could be different.
No. There's nothing inspiring about amazing perfections on display. See, Will, we're happy you're here. And you can stay as long as you like. But I do run a different show.
And now, one of the greatest displays of human contortion ever seen.
It is my pleasure to introduce Anna, Queen of the Air. And the strongest man you'll ever see. The master of the flying trapeze and the oldest performer in the air, Papi!
See you at the fairgrounds, 2 days only. Come on by, Butterfly Circus, 2 days only.
How do? My boy here would sure like to say hello to the strongest man in town.
Well, I'm Sugar Daddy stronger, but I'd make a close second.
Are you in the show too, mister?
No, not exactly.
Oh.
We best be going now. Thank you kindly.
You bet.
Wow, did you see that, Dad? I'm gonna be the strongest man in the world someday. I'll be just like that man. I'll lift anything I want to.
Yeah, boy, you can do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, what this world needs is a little wonder.
Look, Mama, I'll take it!
Splendid, isn't it? The way they move, full of strength, color, and grace. They're astounding. But you? Cursed from birth. A man, if you can call him that, who God himself turned his back upon.
Stop it! Why would you say that?
Because you believe it. But if you could only see the beauty that can come from ashes.
Wait! I'm pulling it down, I swear I will!
Your problem now. You're no good to me, so get out.
You're good enough for me, Dollface. Here you go.
But they're different from me. Yes, you do have an advantage. The greater the struggle, the more glorious the triumph.
I can't find my caterpillar. Where is he?
He's right there. In the cocoon, see? He'll be fine. You won't even recognize him when he comes out.
Oh, wow.
Hey! Hey, George! Poppy! I need help to cross! Can anyone help me? Hey, George! Can you help me? Hey! Where you going? What's the matter with you? Just gonna leave me here? I think you'll manage. What? I guess I'll just magically get up, huh?
Hey, George, Poppy, how's the water? Time for a swim.
Woo! Woo! Look! Hey! Woo!
Hey, Will, you coming in?
Hey, big Will, come in! Will! Will! Look, I can swim!
Look at the barrel of moonshine.
Here you
Your eyes will witness this fine evening our bravest soul as he cheats death by ascending 50 feet into the air and leaping into this pool of water.
Wow, how'd you do that, mister? Were you scared? It was so high.
I'll try it. I can do it.
Sweetie, you can do anything.
Did it hurt when you hit the water?
There he goes, Sam.
Well, welcome back. I hope this short clip was as inspiring to you as it is to all of us that already know all the lines by heart. I find myself like mouthing all the things they were saying. I've watched this so many times and still it's so wonderful every time we watch it together, especially because we watch it together. And as Maria said, although the main character of this short movie is a person with disabilities, with physical limitations, this movie is not about that. It's actually about embracing our differences and about resilience. And depending on the life stage that we're at, we can also be playing a role of Will or the role of Mendes. I hope you paid close attention to them both. And so, as per usual, we will now have a moment to discuss a bit how this footage impacted us. And so we have here some questions that can help guide your thoughts. So what have I learned with Mendes that I can take onto my personal life? And how do I see my own imperfections? And how can I become more resilient, like individually, as a group, and as a community? So we'll now go to our small groups that I'm sure you're missing, and we'll have 20 minutes to discuss this, and then we'll be back. So see you in a while.
Welcome back to the room from your rooms. I hope that everyone already had the chance to move from one place to another place. This is like magic. Rita, how was in your room? How was the experience
really
after
good.
butterfly circles? Share with us.
Yeah, it's really good. And we got some really insightful sharings and testimonials. And it's great to see that everyone's so open and everyone's so already like comfortable sharing exactly what's going on in their mind, in their lives with the rest of the group. And that we can start to go deeper and deeper and actually get a real sense of what we're doing here and how this impacts so many people. It was really, really great. Is everyone back already, Pedro?
Yes, Rita, everyone in the room.
Okay, great. So we didn't have a lot of time to do the reflection. So I'm just gonna give you guys some of our main reflections and main key points that you can later reflect on and use this to go deeper on this reflection on yourselves. And you can also rewatch the movie later if you have the opportunity, or also search about Nick Vujicic, who is the main character of the movie. So this is actually a metaphor about a real story. So maybe later you can search about him. So regarding the butterfly circus, I think like it's so often that we have to deal with our own difficulties and obstacles, right? We have our own path to create and our own struggles. And if we look at Will, Like it's very easy to deduct some of his biggest challenges, since we look at his physical limitations. Like that is the first thing we see, but in fact that is not his biggest challenge. And the thing is, he believes, and we see that right in the beginning of the movie, he believes that he belongs in a freak show, that the only thing that he's good for is to be made fun of, and that is going to be his life forever. So actually the real challenge of Will is not his physical disability, but instead the real obstacle lies in his mind. So if you look at his face, you can actually see sadness and anger and lack of self-esteem. And he cannot believe that anyone can actually show real empathy towards him. Like Mendes did when he stopped those kids from throwing the tomatoes, and when he just called him magnificent. He believed that Mendes too was making fun of him and even spit on him. Even so, Mendes did not look scared or reject him, but instead it was understanding, and it just said like, it's my fault. Maybe I was the one that got too close. Like, it's okay. And what I wanted to ask you all and to make you think about is how many times we have played Will in our lives. Like, how many times did we limit ourselves? Like, sometimes we're even the first person to do that, and we're very quick to do so. When we say like, oh, that's too hard for me, or yeah, sure, he or she can do it, but they don't have to deal with what I'm dealing with. And when we say like, yeah, that's a wild dream, it's never going to happen. Like, we do it sometimes very unconsciously. So the question is, how many times like have you been Will in your own life? And also, how many times have you been Mendes? Like, when if you put yourself at the service of others and were rejected, did you give up? Or like Mendes, did you see beyond your appearances and continue available and open in spite of the obstacles that you found? So this short movie is entitled The Butterfly Circus for no reason. So just like butterflies, to overcome visible and invisible and ever-changing challenges and obstacles, we also need time in our cocoon. We need to learn to accept ourselves. We need to learn what resilience means in our own context, so that we can later spread our wings and fly and achieve things that we didn't think were possible. And resilience is like the main theme of today's seminar. And we don't really believe there's a unique formula or a magic formula that helps us like get through everything that is bad in life. It's not like we have to be tough or have to be really strong and unbreakable to be resilient. In fact, resilience comes in many forms. And for some people, allowing yourselves to be vulnerable, to be affected by what surrounds us, is actually what leads us to the metamorphosis, and that leads us to find our own purpose. And sometimes all we need is just a catalyzer, like someone that brings us to the brink of change. And Mendes was that person for Will. If you remember the part where Mendes turns to Will and says, "A man, if you can even call it that, whom God himself has turned his back upon." That was really, really hard for Will to hear. But how many times do we do these things to ourselves? How many times do we say these things to ourselves? And resilience is not about seeing yourself as a victim, but rather discovering what makes you unique. And you can see that each performer in the Butterfly Circus had a rough path, but they were all able to see the beauty behind their stories. They went through this metamorphosis, and now they are looked at with wonder. And Will managed to do the same, and even became an inspiration for those who also were able to see beauty in his strength, like the boy that hugs him in the end. He also became an inspiration. And Mendes helped him in this path and proved to be a very good example of a servant leader that we speak so much about. And Mendes to us in the Ubuntu Leaders Academy is truly a leader, a servant leader that would truly appreciate. So I really hope that you all enjoyed this story and this metaphor. And just remember that the greater the struggle, the more glorious the triumph. Never forget that. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rita, for these moments. It was wonderful. And like you said, every time I rewatch the Butterfly Circus, I'm like saying all the words. And every time I start to almost cry, because today I know people may be like watching me, so I try to to not
I forgot
go
people
there.
watching. I was actually tearing.
And now we are moving forward for also a beautiful moment that is called Future Me. Are you ready? Do you guess what is this? What I'm talking about? Tell me in the chat. But meanwhile, I will of course disclosure. And now I want to challenge. I have a lot of challenge for you today. I know. And I want to challenge all the delegates to write a letter. And it's a letter for you. It's a letter for yourself. And on this letter, you will receive a link. It's a digital platform called Future Me. And you can write this letter almost like an email, but you can choose the time when you want to receive it. Actually, I did this when I was finishing my bachelor degree, so 10 years ago. And it was very, very nice because I was writing for me and I was saying, Joanna, I hope you are well. I hope you already achieved your goals that are, I bullet point my goals. And 3 years later, I received it. I didn't remember that I had I scheduled for 3 years later. And it was a surprise. And it was a surprise because indeed, I achieved my goals, I overcome, and I learned the lessons in a hard way also. But that's the beauty of life along the way. So go ahead, write a future letter for you. Meanwhile, the tech team will put here a nice music to create the ambience, and I invite you to really dive inwardly and try to question yourself, your future self. I know I'm reading here. I feel scared to write about my future. Yeah, it can be scary, but also it's like you are challenging yourself, and be kind to yourself. Be kind to your future self. Like, I hope you achieve this, but if not, it's okay, because I'm here for you. And that's the beautiful thing. You are showing compassion towards you. Normally, we talk about compassion, empathy, but it's towards the others around us. Maybe we need to be kind for ourselves. So go ahead on this challenge. We talk in a moment.
Thank you so much, Joanna. It's a very exciting time that we have for us just to hear, some of the voices from the participants for the plenary. So today we've got some speakers who are going to be with us, who are going to be helping us with to give the reflections on some of the thematic areas that they are going to be talking about. I will start with Mona Suleiman to come in from Sudan. She's going to be giving a brief speech which is connected to this issue of overcoming poverty and social exclusion and Mona from Sudan. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello, my name is Mona Suleiman. I'm from Sudan. So today we're going to start about status of poverty in Sudan. When we talk about poverty in Sudan, we saw that incidence of poverty in Sudan varies greatly by regions, because in Sudan we have unevenly distributed economic growth. Also because of the economic and the social variations caused by conflicts in some areas in my country. Also, we have a big problem in severity disability in terms to access in education, sanitation, cold water, and some natural resources, even in economic opportunity and particularly protections. In general, when we saw the poverty status in Sudan, we can see that the most common group in Sudan, which live in poverty, farmer, for example, specifically whom they live or still living in places affected by conflict. As we know, Sudan suffered from conflict from several times, and also people, when the people they don't have a land to cultivate, they save their life by using to collect the firewood and make a coal. Generally in Sudan, we suffered from inflations. As we know, Sudan life completely changed since 2018. Now government employment salary are not enough to, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Government salary are not enough to the necessity of the life due to the inflations that the country suffered from, and the middle class began to change to the poor class. When you say what's the main reason of poverty in Sudan, we can see that the majority direction is one of the biggest reasons of poverty, specifically in rural places, have a limited opportunity for services. Family without access or a local forest are a poorest family, which included elders, which includes the disabilities. Many houses in Sudan are managed by women and youth only. So when we see the disadvantages of these things, we can see that also women and girls are the most disadvantaged member of society. Less than a third of them does not have access to education. The final part I want to talk about, also we have a lot of problem in my country, Sudan. We believe that we have a hand in change. In Arabic, we say Eid ala Eid tajda ba'id. In my own language or Sudanese way. So we believe that we have a hand in change. We have a hand to develop in our country. Personally, now I develop a smartphone application. We try to make a link between wasted food places such as hotels, factories, restaurants, and give the food after we separate it with a quality, quantity, a live shelf, and even a store conditional, give it to the people which they needed, whom they need food, such as hospitals, schools. We want to decrease the malnutrition in Sudan, and in 2013, I want to say in my country, there's no hunger, there's no wasted food. I know it is just an idea, but I believe that I can make a change with my country, in my country, with a small idea. A lot of a big project are started from a little idea. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mona, and thank you so much for your inspiration, in particular with the initiative that you are starting against food shortages and bridging the gap. You spoke about the challenges that you are facing in your country, but you also gave the, it's in Arabic, one of the languages which I would love to learn. You gave, that everyone has a hand in changing their circumstances. So, and I'm excited and congratulations on the work that you are doing, especially, bridging the gap. And this is one of the ways that we can actually then end poverty, when we play our part, even in the small things that we are doing. Thank you so much, Mona, and very inspirational indeed. So from Sudan, we are going all the way to Brazil, and I'm calling upon Thais from Brazil, Thais Timoteo. I hope I said it correctly, to give your reflections on the theme overcoming poverty and social exclusion. Over to you, Thais.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Moses. So I'm very happy to be here with you all. I know most of you know Brazil from Carnival, from the beads, from the Amazon forest, but we have a lot of problems here. I think every country have, but we are not a poor country, and even though we face exclusion problems and social problems, and we have a lot of people that don't have things to eat. Like now with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have almost 19 million people that are facing hungry. So this is something that we didn't face it from the last 12 years, I think, 12 years, yeah, that's it. And so it's very sad because if we had our richness to be shared with everyone, we would not face those problems. As I said, we are not a poor country. We are the 80th, 90th economy in the world. So it's not fair for the people to face all these problems because, you know, we could not have this amount of people facing poverty, facing bad education, facing bad health. So it's a problem that we face here since ever. And I think we as young leaders, we could help to change these things. Like I can see in the Brazilian delegation that we have people that are struggling the people that are fighting about education. I see people fighting about sustainability, about the environment. I see people fighting for the good jobs opportunity for the people. So I think our role in this path is to help people, like just Mr. Mans did, to understand that we together we are stronger, and together we can change this country. We can help people to have access to good food. We can help people to have access to good education. We can help people to have access to good health. I think through education, we can face a better future. I think through education, we can share everything that our country has to in the best. I think we could, through education, valorize our culture. This is something that is so rich here, and it could really help us to face and overcome the exclusion, the hungry, the social gap that we face here in Brazil. So I know some friends of mine that are here that could help us as a country, as people, as citizens, to develop our country in the best way. We are facing huge problems here. I'm not going through politics, but we need to save our forests. We need to save our water. We need to help people to have access to good water, so this could avoid them to have health problems. So we can, as young leaders, we can, as citizens, help our country and help the world to be better. The Amazon forest is, as we say, the essential part of the environment globally. So we have to save it. We have to make people understand that when we are protecting our forest, we are protecting the world, and when we protect the world, we are protecting ourselves. So that's what I think, that we could have this opportunity to learn here and put in practice with our daily actions, with our daily friends, with our daily work, to overcome all the problems, or the problems that we can help to overcome here in Brazil and anywhere we are. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Thais. And really, you spoke well to the issues, and some of the issues that I captured. You spoke of challenges with the social gap, exclusion, hunger, water, and forests. And you also spoke in terms of the solutions, people coming together to solve, and which is one of the critical things, you know, like the Ubuntu United Nations, people coming together, discussing different issues, and, you know, having these platforms for dialogue. And you talked about the importance of education, and also you talked about how culture can actually help, you know, in being part of the solution process. Thank you so much. And as you indicated, Brazil with the forest. So Brazil's, they are the lungs of the earth. So it definitely, you know, even with the conversations of, you know, with climate change and the challenges that even Professor Yunus spoke to earlier, we really need to make sure that we do a lot in that regard. So thank you so much for both our speakers today. Voices from Sudan, voices from Brazil. It's been such an inspiration to hear you. And now we are coming to the tail end of our program. Joanna, what's the next session?
I spoiler myself earlier, so you know what's next. Now, yes, we have the time to evaluate today's seminar. You received the link, as you know, in the chat, and just do your magic, reflect on today, our speakers, the organization, the content. Tell us what you thought about it. So I will give you a few minutes, and while I think the technical team can put some music, or if not, just do your thing. Now you know the deal. The next step, it's the Menti. You receive it here in the chat, and you can share with us what you felt about today in one word. So just go ahead, click on the link, and insert the word that makes the most sense for you today. Meanwhile, me and Moses, when we start to see the results of today's reflection, we will share with you.
Yeah. Resilience, they have already started coming, Joanna. It was inspirational, resilience.
Community, togetherness, motivation, relations.
Will.
Together.
Inspiring. Wow. Resilience is the one which is dominating. Inspirational. Strength, relations, togetherness, acceptance. Wow. All empathy. Those beautiful words.
I see some empathy and will. Yeah. Who has the a will as a way? I think that's the echo for someone. I don't know the author, but yeah. Distribution. I think that's related with Professor Muhammad Yunus when he mentioned the 3 zeros. He talked about the wealth inequality distribution. So I think that's related to the
strength, family. Time is now a very interesting one again. Embrace imperfection, but resilience, empathy are the ones that are coming out.
It makes sense since we are talking about overcoming obstacles. Resilience and empathy are key tools to do it. And while this cloud of words is getting bigger, I just want to share some reflection, if I can, if I may, now that we also are towards the ending. And in some seminars, of Ubuntu seminars ago, a few months ago, the participants said something that it was very powerful to me, and it's about overcoming obstacles, because sometimes, or most of the time, we are talking about the obstacles that we face, but we do not reflect about the obstacles that we can be. We can be an obstacle for someone, and yeah, we have to think in the both ways, not the obstacles that I have to surpass, but also, am I about obstacle for someone? How can I help someone? and not be an obstacle. I think that's also a good reflection. And tell me, Moses, more words that pop out differently?
Yes, acceptance, togetherness, perspective,